Right.
Oh, all right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It is January 10th, 2023, and I don't even know how we got to be in 2023, to be honest with you. I remember when the movie 2001, A Space Odyssey came out, and it might be too old for some of you to even remember, but 2001, A Space Odyssey seems so far out into the future, and now here we are in 2023, and it's really not anything like that movie. But anyway, I'm so happy you're all here today. Scotty asked me to lead, so I'm just going to jump in and share some of my takeaways from this reading. I am not a fast reader, and I have to read out loud sometimes to comprehend what I am reading. And I'm finding this book to be quite profound on so many levels. It's teaching me things about myself that I didn't even realize. So I'm just going to jump right in on and go for page 72, and it says, high performers approach their learning not as generalists, but as specialists. When Brendan left corporate America to become a full-time writer and trainer, he had similar decisions he had to make. He's talking about the primary field of interest. He said, I made my primary field of interest personal development, but it has many thousands of other writers, bloggers, speakers, and trainers. How would I stand out? I realized that the skill most of these folks lacked wasn't related to their topic, but rather to their marketing of the topic. And he was in the same boat. So he spent 18 months. He focused almost exclusively on learning and trying new things related to email marketing and making videos. Specifically, he learned to capture emails and send those subscribers weekly newsletters that linked to a featured video training on my blog. He said, I also learned how to put all my videos in an online members area and charge people money to access them. That's not exactly what I'm searching for, but he says, look to the future, identify key skills, obsessively develop those skills. And it says, this sounds easy, but the world where we are so distracted and reactive has become a lost art. So I took the time and I started to write out some of the areas that I was looking for. I've only been to like vocational schools. I don't have any kind of degree from college, so I've never had any business training. I was a massage therapist for 23 years, and the business was kind of spoon-fed me, so I never really had to learn business skills. One of the things that I was looking for was how to set up a business, how to market, and how to draw people to me. And I thought, oh, I could hire a business coach. And you know what happened? When I put that out there, the very next day at my BNI chapter, our chapter success talked about her 1 year it's called Solutions University, and it's all on business training, building funnels, and learning how to capture names and setting goals and so forth. And so, you know what I did? I signed up for that. So I'm super excited, because I don't think that if I had read this, that seed would not have been planted, and I would not have been open to receiving that information from her. That sort of like, if you've ever read the High Five Habits with Mel Robbins, she talks about, you know, you want to do something like get a red car, for instance, and then all of a sudden you start seeing red cars everywhere. It's sort of the same concept, where you start planting those seeds of marketing skills and whatever skill or whatever you want to do. It starts appearing everywhere. So the second thing that I wrote that I really liked, hold on here, was don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go do it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And it was interesting because I started, one quote, let me backtrack. You may have heard this. It says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's exactly what happened with that business coach. So moving forward, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go do it. So I had to start thinking about that. And I love my company. I love everything about it. It's the first time I've really been free to do something of this nature on a full-time scale. And so it was exciting to read that and to realize that I am the creator of my destiny, and I can't depend on anyone else to lead me there. I have to take the bulls by the horn and just take it and run with it. So defining what is meaningful on page 84. Unhappiness is not knowing what we want and killing ourselves to get it. And I was killing myself at my job, my career, my 23-year career. I loved the money, but I was so unhappy with the job of doing massage. I mean, you think your dream job, being on the beach in Kanapali here on Maui, watch whales and dolphins and the palm trees swaying in the breeze and so forth. But honestly, I couldn't handle the work anymore. It was physically too hard for me, and I dreaded going there every single day. And so when I was tapped on the shoulder and by God, I had a divine intervention with time to go. I just said, okay. And I took, and I'm now where I am right now. It says, how committed are you? How attached to it are you? And whether you would do the work despite compensation. That's my whole thing. They try to figure out whether you see the work as just a job or an important career or a calling. They often these are high performers. They often associate a clear sense of purpose with an overall sense of meaning in life. And my purpose is to help middle-aged women feel more youthful and confident. I wasn't doing that with my massage career, so therefore it wasn't meaningful to me. But I am now. And so I'm really excited about that. And I don't know if you all are doing the prompts, the performance prompts, and writing them out, but I really found those to be valuable too. So those are just a few of the takeaways. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I think there's probably some other people that want to talk. So thank you for listening. I probably long. Is there anybody else that has anything they want to share? Don't be shy. This isn't rocket science.
You know, I will, but I'm waiting for someone else because I'll go the whole time if I start. While I let you guys gather your thoughts, I'll share a couple. I have a couple pages marked. One of them really, it's funny how like when you're working on a specific goal or your personal development, sometimes it feels like it's exactly what you needed to hear at the right moment. One of them during this whole thing is, what does he say? Release. What is it? What's the saying he says? Release tension, set intention. Is that what it is?
Release tension, set
intention, right? And that is, he talks about it in the sense of going from one activity to the next and breaking it out. And I wrote it out. It was one of the prompts as well. You know, my day looks like I do my routine of like, I listen to something like for my spiritual development, and I'm brushing my teeth and flossing and getting ready. And then the next thing is making sure all the kids are packed and ready to go out to the school bus. Like I comb my kid's hair, put lotion on the youngest, lotion on his hands, brush his teeth. And so that's a whole different thing. So I have to release tension and set intention before that activity. And then after that activity is my workout. After that, I'm taking my daughters to junior high. My oldest drives to high school, but that's a whole new block of time. So in between each of those, making sure that I release any tension I have and set the intention of how I want to show up for that person and for that next thing. And it goes for like going from, I was doing my business activity tracker, and then now I go to this meeting. So any tension that might have been in that time block, then I got to set it, right? A new intention for this Zoom meeting. And so I loved that concept. But one thing that really stood out, that it was like, I read it when I needed to, is I know some of us building a business on social media, we want to go viral, but I'll tell you, it's not as fun as it seems. It's difficult. I think we're at like 120 million views in the past 3 weeks on my Facebook reels, and thousands of hateful comments, just like coming in like crazy. And so for me, I found myself once again, like I would get on the couch or something, because like I wouldn't look at it all day. So I stayed super disciplined in that. I'm like, I'm not going to look at it. I want to, because I typically have a commitment of never looking at my notifications. So that wasn't too hard throughout the day. But at the end of the day, like I don't want F-bombs and bad things being said about people arguing intensely on my page, because my page is like my home. So I would spend like an hour after the kids were in bed, after I hung out with Gabby, like deleting comments and blocking people that were extremely bad. If they're like throwing shade and trash and it's not too offensive, then it's okay. But if it's like real bad, then I was blocking them. But what I found is I was carrying some of that tension into my next activities. Like I was irritated again at some things, like short with my daughter, like irritated at Gabby for no apparent reason. But what was it? It was me not releasing tension and setting intention. So that chapter came at an extremely great time for me to, when I would sit down to hang out with Gabby, or sit down to, go to dance with my daughter, or whatever it was, to be like, take those 2, 3, 5 minutes and be like, okay, how does the best Scotty Hobbs show up for his daughter in these next 30 minutes? So that was a super powerful lesson for me. I'll share more from the book, but I just wanted to share that part because it was on the top of my head, but I'll let some other people talk first.
Yep. Yeah, about releasing tension and setting intention. Darren Hardy. Who follows Darren Hardy here? By show of hands, anyone? Okay, so Darren Hardy, he has a similar concept to this one. He says, clear the cache memory. And probably everybody here knows what's the cache memory. For maybe just in case somebody doesn't know, cache memory is that level of memory in the computer that's very high level because it's using it all the time. So the computer wants to have it way up there so it's easy to access, right? So Darren Hardy says, clear the cache memory before you go from one task to the other one, or one meeting to another one, or whatever you do, whatever transition, that's how this guy calls it, right? Whatever transition you do, clear the cache memory. You don't want to go into the next meeting thinking of the previous meeting. That'll be a disaster. So I like that. I like that concept. Now, for me, my main takeaway in this one, in these 2 chapters, was at the end of the second chapter, which is guard my sleep. I used to have a very good habit, and I lost it because I was scrolling too much, and yeah. So this is a continuation of the meeting we had a week ago, in which Scotty said, "Read, don't scroll," and that really stuck with me. And this week I've been trying to scroll less. It's so addictive. It is extremely addictive scrolling. So I've been trying to scroll less. I've been trying to read, and that's gonna help me sleep better too, because scrolling messes up your brain. It really puts you in other frequencies and things, and you're exposed to what other people are thinking and to other worlds that are not yours. So yeah, that was my main takeaway. That if I can only stick to that one this week, it's gonna be well worth it, sleeping better. Yep, that's my main comment.
That's so important, because I'm so guilty of that. And I finally had to just say, enough is enough. It's not serving me. It's putting bad ideas into my head. It's like what Scotty was saying, it was causing him stress. I wasn't happy and cheerful. And so I just decided I am, with this book, especially from 10 to 11 at night, instead of sitting there scrolling, I'm reading my book, and it's quiet, and the house, everybody else is asleep, and I'm so that's such a great reminder, important too, because that's where our healing comes. I don't know if you're familiar with circadian rhythm, but every hour has a organ associated with it. So if you're, scrolling at 2 a.m, I don't know what let's say it's the heart at 2 a.m, nourishment it needs from the rest that you take. So everybody needs to sleep. Who's up next? Who wants to share?
I think for me, I didn't get through the whole reading assignment. I'm on, what's it called? Kindle. Not rush through it, but glean what I can and truly understand what he's trying to say. Because I think sometimes, we just get into a habit of reading, but then we're just like not really stomaching what we're reading. But something that stood out to me is being in control of our feelings and like differentiating between feelings and emotions. Because I think, a lot of times if we're not conscious of those things, we kind of get trapped into like this habit of, feeling a certain way, and then our actions follow that feeling. And then we're just like, beating ourselves up over, oh my gosh, I did this again to myself. I didn't. So for me, I think that this was really helpful to know that, be in control of that and don't let it be in control of you. And for me, that was on page 78 in the Kindle version of it. And then another thing that stood out to me, and it may have been from the last reading, but I read it this time, was about service to others, and how when our focus is on serving others' needs and not our own, and not only being focused on our own needs and what makes us, I don't know, like not being focused on our own fears, but being focused on others' needs instead, is what I understood of it. And changing and transitioning that focus over will help you to realize, if you're focusing on others' needs, it's hard to just go through the motions. It's hard to just, be afraid, because you're not focused on that anymore. You're not focused on the fear or, those feelings you get when you start becoming afraid to, start talking to new people, or thinking like, oh, I'm going to go talk to all these people, but, focusing on who's going to buy or who's not going to buy. It's like, just focus on creating relationships, focus on caring about these people that you're talking to. Don't focus on anything else. So
I love that. Hey, I'm gonna piggyback off of that, just because that was one of the things I had marked. I put some little papers in there, so I'm not like scrolling through looking for my pencil marks. The quote that you're talking about, I have it underlined, so I want to read some of it. But the page prior says, when someone becomes disconnected from the future and their contribution to it, they underperform. And then the next page is what Cynthia, the paragraph that Cynthia was talking about, says, in stark contrast again, underperformers are too focused on self over service. They give more mind share to what do I want now than to what do those I serve want now. They ask, how can I get by with the least amount of effort, instead of how can I serve with excellence? Underperformers ask, why don't people recognize my unique strengths? While high performers are asking, how can I serve in unique ways? So I really love that. And I wrote down a lot of things. You like double underlined, like, how can I get by? Like, Oh, how can I serve with excellence? How can I serve in unique ways? And then going back, I can't remember who shared at the beginning. It might have been you, Laura. We're talking about, oh, it was you, Laura. When Brendan decided, like, there's a lot of people in the personal development field. There's a lot of people teaching personal development, and he focused on marketing, right? Email marketing, learning how to market, and that became his thing where he put all of his energy. It was his strength that he was going into. And so it made me think about myself, because I'm doing a lot of things. And I was like, when do I feel like I was giving the most contribution and serving in unique ways? And I was like, man, I was like every single day as I was reading 52 books a year. And every single day I was like on YouTube for like, or a video on Facebook teaching what I was learning. And I was like, man, only thing on my YouTube now are like team calls or Zoom recordings or an update to this and that. And I was like, when I was like serving in a really unique way and serving with excellence, like I was doing that. So I immediately made a decision. I didn't want to overcommit. I wanted to do something that I could follow through with right now. So I was like, I'm going to do at least 3 videos a week on YouTube, and just, studying what works, what doesn't work is what I'm doing as well with my Facebook reels. Is, my first one I just put as a video. It did okay. The next one I was like, okay, people are looking at shorts, like people are looking at reels on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm going to do a short. So I did a short, and it got like double the amount of views, almost triple the amount of views as my normal YouTube video did. Same length of video, teaching something from this book, and trying to keep it under, I did it under a minute because I tend to talk a lot. So I wanted to do a real concise, just teach something. And then I was like, I don't know where it was. I was listening to some other personal development outside of this, but it was just talking about how captions help increase someone's ability to watch a reel or anything as well, because they might be at work or somewhere and they don't have the sound on, so they'll read it, or else they'll just swipe by. So I put captions on it, and it had like triple again. The first video had like 50 views. The next one had like 200. And then the one I just posted yesterday had like 800 views. And so what I took away from that is like, okay, I need to serve with more. I need to get back to serving with more excellence and showing up and doing that. So that's one thing that I'm doing just to take action from what I'm learning here, is doing that, because I felt best in what I do as a coach when I was doing that. So I was like, sometimes we don't know, like, how did I get away? How did I step away from doing all of these different things? So I'm getting back to that. Last thing I want to share on that page is no goals, no growth, no clarity, no change. So writing out some specific goals, like I'm going to get clear. I'm going to be massive in my personal development this year with you guys in book clubs, doing new books. And I'm going to continue not just in the Zoom meetings, but teaching what I'm learning on my social media and on my YouTube so that I can serve other people. I'm done. Someone else talk, or I'll just keep going.
Can you hear me? Hi, it's Saturday. I just want to say how much I love reading that this book is so relatable. There are so many moments where I'm like, Kate's story, I was like, that's me. That's how I feel. Like, it is, there's a connection in this book that I think can relate to everybody on so many levels, which is really neat. And I started reading this book back in 2017. I actually didn't even finish it. And it's cool to see where I was in 2017. I felt like I was thriving then to where I am now, where I'm in that struggle mode. It's so different, but it's neat because I can reconnect to how I was feeling then, which is where I want to go back to, but now with that stronger sense of purpose and learning, to where I am now. But to say what you mentioned, Laura, about planting those seeds, it is so cool that just by going through this book, it's an actionable book and it encourages you to plant those seeds. It's not just a read along. It's, now that you've read this, practice this and come back to it and do it. And I love that. And I'm listening to the audiobook online and reading it as well. So it's really neat because I'm ahead in the audiobook. So when I come to read it, it's like someone already told me this. And it was really just from listening to it again. So that was really neat. One of the things I was chatting with my husband really quick and listening about the social media, if you have an iPhone, you can actually set limitations on how long you're on social media. So talking about setting intentions, you can really get intentional and make sure that the time you're serving on those media platforms is delegated based off of what you feel is valuable for you. So hopefully that prevents the scrolling, because now you know, like, I only have an hour to commit to what I need to provide on social media instead of what it's feeding me. Because we all know a lot of times what it feeds us is discontentment, you know, world problems that then we take on problems, instead of like, how can we go out and just serve with that excellence? So if anybody needs to know the tip on, Laura, I'll include it in there. But if you have the social media, or sorry, if you have the iPhone, you go to your settings and then your app limits. Let me see, settings, screen time, app limits, and then you can go in and designate, yeah, exactly what you want to include in there. And it'll tell you, I mean, it'll keep you accountable. It'll tell you how much time you've been spending on each thing as well, and at what point you've already started you know, spending your time on that. So if that is helpful for anybody who wants to set an intention there, if that's an issue, you know, we have the power to combat that in our phones as well. But yeah, so no growth, or wait, no goals, no growth, no clarity, no change. We just created something to make it clear for us to achieve those goals that we're looking for.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I'm just in that app thing. It just made me think, we have it for the kids under the screen time. You can set app limit for like each app, but another thing you do is set a downtime where you can't access any of your stuff after a certain period until another certain period. So you could put your downtime 10:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And then scheduled until 6 a.m. or whatever, and you can't access. I mean, obviously you as the adult can put your password and change it, but it's like, it's a little inconvenience though. It's like, sometimes you just need that reminder, like, oh, screen time, and it shuts off. And then just that little inconvenience of having to put your password is just that reminder of like, okay, I'm done. So I love that. Thanks for sharing that.
What page was that no goals, no growth on? Do you remember? Or do you have that?
I just threw my paper, but I can find it.
Page what? 77.
77. Yeah, you'll
Okay.
see the last sentence.
Oh, yep.
Oh yeah, I even have it underlined. I have the whole book underlined. I should just like.
That's how I feel. That's why I had to put a couple little pieces of paper in, because every page has stuff. So I could be more intentional about what I shared on this, instead of like flipping through and finding one.
Yeah, and then I have a separate journal too that I'm writing in, because I'm writing out all those prompts and there's not enough room in the prompts area to do that. So who else wants to share?
Hi.
Hi, Julie.
Hi. So I have a 3- and 5-year-old. And for those of you who have gone down that road or are there now, like, you know that this book really helps a lot with trying to stay more focused on your own goals, because it's so easy to get sidetracked with what everybody else wants or needs. So I also read/listened to this book back in 2017 when I first started coaching. And I went ahead and got the High Performance Planner. This thing has been life. And it actually does have all the prompts like in it for morning and evening. And it basically just repeats itself, and then even has, like, after so many days, a review, a high performance habits review. But it's so cool Like each time you do that review, it's really neat to see changes just from making those other small changes in your daily life and habits. And there's even like blank space at the end that you can write your own notes. I've
We
written a
can't-
few.
We can't hear you when you're holding the book up. It's muting your microphone.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's on my computer. But anyway, basically just what I've shown you is, you know, just parts of the book that, like, this is blank space in the very back that you can write your own notes. And I just wrote, you know, for each day, just a little like note, you know, for that day. And I've gone back and forth with this. When I got it, it came with, I think, 3 or 4. So I have 2 more that I haven't even made any entries in. But yeah, like this is definitely one of those books that helped me in my life and coaching and relationships. So I'm just listening to the Audible right now. And the Audible, it just goes by chapters. It doesn't even do pages. But yeah, I'm only on Seek Clarity right now. But yeah, I mean, it just, even every single time, because this is like my 3rd time, I think, listening to the Audible. Yeah, I feel like I'm reset in a way. But like today, my morning, I haven't even made the entry, so I'll, you know, do that tomorrow. But I still have time for the evening entry journal, which starts at 1 p.m. And then it basically goes to 7:30. Like the times are basically just tasks that absolutely have to be done today. And I do have a few, so I'm going to go ahead and write that when we're done with the call. And then like on the side, like in the upper portion, it says persons I need to lead or connect with today and how to do it well. I love how in parentheses, it says how to do it well. Because I've had so many times and instances, and even right before the call, that I wanted to do something, but I'm like, I don't want to do it half-assed, you know, I want to do it well. And I know that that mindset is because of this book. And then, so I want to show you at the very beginning. I love this part too. I hope you can hear me. At the very bottom, it basically is a total assessment for the day. It says daily habits scoreboard, and it lists all the different habits: clarity, energy, necessity, productivity, influence, and courage. So yeah, I just wanted to share that because I don't know if any of you have seen it or heard about it, or you'll probably hear about it eventually when you're done with the book. Because I know in the Audible he mentioned it at the end, and that's why I got it. And I want to say I got these on Amazon, but it's totally been worth it, you guys. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share for now. I love being a part of this book club because I never was a part of any book clubs or anything like this up until last year, and it was through my high school alumni. And I never realized how much more insight you get and learn from doing stuff like this and hearing all the different perspectives rather than just doing those personal development books or regular books on your own. So I'm thankful to be here. I am so glad to meet you all. That's it.
We're glad to have you here. That's awesome. There is it on his website? You can go to highperformancehabits.com/tools, I think. It's in here somewhere. I can't find it. Maybe it's in the Seek Clarity chapter, but you can download some pages and have your clarity chart available to you. I think that's kind of what you were showing there on that one page, Julie. So I have that out and filled out. It's very helpful as I sit down to do my work every day. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
I was just super excited that one of the chapters was about exercise and the importance of exercise. There's just so many times when I'm following up with my clients. So the way I do my routine is if you're part of Beachbody, you know that there's a business activity tracker. It tells you everything to do every single day. And one of the things that's my least favorite thing to do, because, and it's in one of my things is to become more social, is to work on my social skills, is I'm an introvert. So it's not in my, I want to serve people, which is why I love doing videos, because I can serve in that way without being social, without all the one-on-one. So I have a goal to be more social, and I'm working on that goal. But when I'm following up with people, the way that I do it is I do all of my follow-ups with my clients on Mondays. Instead of doing a little bit every single day, I just do it all at the beginning of have you read the book, Eat That Frog? I do that one thing, the very first on Monday. And so often, whether it's someone's parent is sick in the hospital, or their kid has the coronavirus, or the car broke down, all of these things that go on, they happen in all of our lives, right? And I hear so many times, we'll call them excuses, like, I couldn't do it last week because the family was at my house, or I had to go into an apartment, or I was on vacation, or we were at my in-laws and they were cooking, like all of them, right? They're all excuses. And so I didn't find it right now, but I'm going to head to that chapter. I really loved the challenge where he's like, make the decision to make this year, like to get in the very best health of your life. And that's, and it's not complex. I think too often someone might look at myself, or someone that's like doing their workouts every single day. Ricky's doing his workouts and riding his bike and hiking and all of these things, right? But when someone's brand new, they might think they have to do all those things. So I was just realizing, listening to Brendan, because I'm listening on the audio end, reading as well. He talks about all you need to do is at least 20 minutes of cardiovascular exercise. It could be a brisk walk twice a week, and 20 minutes of strength training, or 20-minute sessions of strength training. So 2 days, 20 minutes each of cardio, 2 days, 20 minutes each of strength training, every single day. It will change drastically someone's life. That's all you need. Obviously, you can go on and do more than that if you have other goals, but just helping get that message across to people. So I love that. But there were some things. Oh, there's one right here on page 118. Up towards the top, I'm going to share a couple things on this. It says, the second paragraph says, because it increases your energy, exercise also enables you to perform general tasks faster and more efficiently. It boosts your working memory, elevates your mood, increases your attention span, and makes you more alert, all of which increase your performance. Then it says, so if the demands, and it's highlighted, if the demands of your job or life require you to learn fast, deal with stress, be alert, pay attention, remember important things, and keep a positive mood, then you must take exercise more seriously. I absolutely love that, because some of the excuses that I hear sometimes are, the kids are little. I have so much stuff. I'm homeschooling, during the coronavirus, all of these things. But just the reminder that you'll be better as a parent, as a spouse, more energy, more joy, more enthusiasm. Your brain will work better to get the kids to, like, right after this, thank goodness to exercise. I know that after this, I got to take my daughter to the orthodontist. And then an hour after that, I got to take my other 2 daughters to their gymnastics. And after that, I got to go, be with the youth boys of the church as their leader. And it's like, it's on my calendar, but I know those things because I got up, I ate healthy, I exercised. So I have more of that clarity. But it's when you wake up and you're like, I have all these things to do, and you don't exercise, that your brain's foggy, you miss things, you forget things, or like Ricky said, the lack of sleep. If you stayed up late doing those things, you wake up, I can't work out, I don't have any energy because I didn't sleep good. And then it's that cycle. So I love that emphasis on that. And at the bottom, I'm going to just share this one. If you have kids, you should take this doubly seriously. Doubly seriously. That's how he wrote it. Sounds like not correct, but it's essential that you inspire your children to be healthy. Fit kids can pay better attention than unfit kids, and exercise makes a tangible difference in their IQ and long-term academic achievement. I just want to read the whole next page, but I'm not going to read it. Just one thing, just an example, I've been consistent in my exercise for 13 years now in April, since I did my first P90X workout. And obviously, like I shattered my collarbone. I had surgery on a rotator cuff injury. Like I've had injuries, I've had all the things, but I've been able to keep, like, for example, at one point I had 2 arms in a sling at the same time. But I got a gym membership. At the time, I didn't have my mixed bike, and I rode the bike and read a book for an hour a day at the local gym with my arms in a sling like this, riding the sit-down bike. And I just continued to keep and maintain that habit. And for that, I'm extremely grateful that I haven't fallen off because of that. But the example that I want to share is, like, sometimes when we don't have any activities at night, I'm just like, my 2 boys want to play like pro sports like football and baseball, and I'm like, if you guys are going to be pros, they're 7 and 10. I was like, we got to train, you got to outwork anybody else. And instead of like plopping on the couch and watching a movie, or we love video gaming, instead of video gaming, we go downstairs. My 7-year-old will pull the tread down and he'll run, and we'll get the weights out and we'll work out. And they're creating we're creating those healthy habits, but it's not a forced thing. It's like a fun, it's what we do in our house. Like if there's spare time, we're doing something that takes care of our body. We're moving our bodies. And so I love that. And what I love also is those are my youngest 2. My oldest one, like, she makes her own shake my 7-year-old makes his own shake, by the way, he does peanut butter, almond milk, and he blends his own shake in the little blenders, the little ones you just put the lid on, and it's like, he makes his every day. But my oldest daughter, just to give an example, just by seeing what we do, she is, I think, 4.5 years of not having one, I think I shared this last week, but not one treat ever. And she, like, when we're on vacation, we went to New York in the summer, and we didn't have the Airbnb didn't have a blender. The first place we went right after buying groceries was to go buy a little blender so she could make her peanut butter and banana and chocolate Shakeology. And I was like, it's just through that, it's just the example, them seeing us live that healthy lifestyle. We were in the smallest apartment in New York, like, I mean, tiny for 7 of us. Like, there were 3 kids on the living room floor, not even on a couch. That's how small it was. And the kids saw me get up and go outside and do push-ups in the little plaza, go running around the block, and they would join me on those things. So, and it's kind of like that one chapter, that one section about thinking outside of yourself and serving others, is just when you're thinking about your own exercise, your own nutrition, and you're maybe struggling with it, think maybe like, if my kids or my spouse did what I did today with health and nutrition, would their life be better? Would their life improve? So that's what I want to share. I could go forever, so I'm stopping again. But I love that he put that in there, the whole putting that huge emphasis on exercise and high performance.
Well, and it's so true, because you get that dopamine rush too, and that helps create creativity in your brain. And as a 65-year-old, you kind of start losing your creativity. And it's just so important to keep our bodies moving. It decreases pain. It makes us feel better. We're happier. So I'm a big proponent of fitness. I know when I was doing massage, I was doing sometimes 6 massages a day. I was in constant motion. So I didn't even have as much pain as I have had since I quit doing massage. Believe it or not. Everyone goes, oh, doesn't that hurt your body? No, actually it didn't really. So sometimes it did. But anyway, I believe that massage is exercise, everybody the National Academy of Sports Medicine recommends that the average person do 150 minutes of exercise every week. So that's kind of a good number to live by. Good job, Scotty. Who else? Anybody else want to share that hasn't shared or wants to share again? Don't be shy.
So I noticed there was a connection in the book, what he was talking about on page 108 about mental triggers and controlling, like on page 78, I believe, he was talking about kind of the same thing where people that are high performers, they bring joy into an emotion or a feeling, and they may not feel joy, you know, in reaction to whatever the circumstance is, but they think in ways of positivity and they bring positive emotions because of how they associate their feelings with what has happened. And so instead of allowing their feelings to take control of them because of the circumstance, they always are in control of that feeling. And they say, okay, well, I can feel positive about this instead of negative. And then that also controls how they react. I feel like for me specifically, and I don't know, you know, if anyone else here struggles with that, but I feel like a lot of times I've let my emotions control my actions instead of being in control of that. And that's what's, you know, put me in a position where I'm like, you know, I know what I should be doing, but I'm not doing it. Why am I still struggling with this? And, you know, that turns into beating myself up and then doing nothing. And so I know that that specifically will help me to be able to be in control of those feelings and therefore be able to control my actions in regards to the circumstance.
Love that. That page that Cynthia was on, I have something underlined, so I'm going to share it. And I used it with my daughter and she was like, who is this guy? Because we've had a little bit of tension once in a while, just because she's driving a car now, out dating boys. I'm not her boyfriend anymore. So my little girl, the one where, and he talks about his wife, he was working with a guy named Arjun. I think he wrote him an email or something late at night. And it was on the triggers that Cynthia was talking about. Whenever his wife would call his name, he would say to himself, you are on this planet for this woman, bring joy to her life. And so I've been trying to do that obviously with Gabby as well. Cause I mean, sometimes I'll be like just exhausted and ready to like sit on the couch. We watch shows and then you know how it is. They'll be like, hey, could you go get, and I'm like, the reaction could be like, I just sat down, you know? And so reading that, I was like, okay, my job is to bring joy to this woman's life. So I need to do things with more enthusiasm or be more intentional about that. So I love that. But I did that with my daughter. Sometimes it's just like, I just want some quiet with 5 kids. And like, I'm trying to decompress at night and she loves to just sing and just kind of be loud. And it's like midnight, the little ones are in bed. And usually it's like, how many times do we have to tell you to be quiet? Malik's asleep. Do not wake him up. And one of the days thinking about this, I got up and she was dancing around and I just started dancing with her. She's like, I could just see she was so confused, but it just brought a smile to her face. We connected a little bit and I was like, okay, I need to be better. It's kind of like bringing more joy as well and not being so serious, which I guess is maybe just getting older. I'm more like that. I don't know. I didn't used to be like that. So anyhow, share that with you guys. Okay, we got like 5 more minutes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
I'd
get
like
that too. Oh, go ahead, Ricky.
Thank you. I would like to add to what Cynthia said. Cynthia, it happens to all of us, happens to everyone in the world. We don't do what we're supposed to do and we do what we're not supposed to do. And we cannot beat ourselves up on that because, man, that's all we would do, beat ourselves up, and that's going to lower our self-esteem and we're going to do worse. Hopefully the goal is that every year we do a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. but it happens to all of us. And sometimes it is in one area of life, sometimes it is a different one. Sometimes we have peaks, sometimes we have valleys. Overall, this should be like the stock market with ups and downs, but always going up, right? So that's just the way it is. I always say I'm 36 backwards. Okay, so and oh my gosh, I'm still learning so much. And every time, every day, every week, every year, I try to be a little bit better. But I'm sure this is gonna be this is a journey. It's gonna last till the last day. So don't beat yourself up. We're all in this together, and nobody's perfect.
Thanks for that, Ricky, because that's something I've really been struggling with. And I love how, you know, this book is letting me know that, like, I don't have to let that be in control of me. I can be in control of it. And I love how it gives us actionable ways to do that and to understand better what's going on, you know, emotionally inside. So because I feel like the more we understand what's going on inside of us and how that works, you know, to create our reality, it's good to know that that can be controlled and it doesn't have to take over. And that's going to be really helpful for me to, you know, move forward into the year and become a more successful coach, because I've been slacking since probably about like March or June of last year. And so I love how reading these things and putting the positive and, you know, learning how to create the positive joy and energy, how that's going to help me move forward.
Is there anyone else that wants to share today? No?
I was
Well,
wondering, do we have like a schedule of Kindle versus physical book? Because I'm not really sure where to stop or start. I'm just kind of like
Yeah.
on my own page schedule, I guess.
Yeah, after last week, some people asked that question, so I broke it down. I'll put it in the chat so you can save it. It's not exact chapters because some of it is like, there'll be like 3 different sections, like social habits and so forth of a chapter. Like it'll break into little sections in a chapter. So some of them stop at one of those points, but I wrote them down and they're right here. I'll copy and paste it so you can save it. So next week, week 3 is pages 126 to 170. So it's a short week, 44 pages, but it is from habit 3, raise necessity, where we left off, to section 2, social habits. And when it says that, just let me make sure, to page 170, I think it's to the start of social habits, not through social habits. Yeah, so it goes just to this page where it says section 2, social habits, high performance habits. So don't continue reading through that or listening through that. It ends right before that section starts, if you're listening. Cool. All right, I'll end the recording.